Hello and welcome to Gefet in the Bava Metzia Shimoni, bringing to you together with Yeshivat Drisha and Hadran, learning a bit of Iyun in your Daf Yomi. And today we're in a very, very famous Iyun sugya, a famous Mishnah and a famous Gemara. Actually, it is so heavy that the main question that I had in my mind writing and creating this Gefet was, how can I choose a small segment that can make sense in 20 minutes? So that was the hardship. And as you will see, I will end this Gefet in a different way than usual. So join me to see a famous masekhet between Rashi and Tosafot. Again, famous for those who have been learning in these sugyot, the sugyot of mamon hamutar b'safek. What happens if you have something that you don't know who it belongs to? There's a suffix there. This is a very, very important sugya dealing with this matter. So let's begin with the Mishnah. Again, the famous Mishnah, Daf Kuf Amud Aleph, Hamachlif para b'chamor ve'yalda. You have kinyan chalipin, two people, one person gives the other person, they make an agreement. They say, okay, my cow will be instead of your donkey. And then the way that they make this work is that the buyer, one of them, pulls the donkey, takes the donkey in his possession, and the cow is bichlal standing elsewhere. But the minute the person took the cow, the minute the person took the donkey, the cow now belongs to the other side. That's kinyan chalipin, hamachlif para b'chamur. Now, how is the story getting more sophisticated? The cow, as it's written in the Mishnah, is pregnant. And then the cow gives birth. And we, since we were not standing next to the cow while she gave birth, these two people were in a different place dealing with the donkey. They don't know, did the cow give birth before the donkey was taking the possession of the other side or not? Why is this so important? There's a big nafkamina. If the cow gave birth after the donkey was pulled for the other side, then this calf belongs to one side. And if this cow gave birth before the donkey was taken, this calf has to stay at the original owner, because the owner sold the pregnant cow. He didn't sell a cow and a calf. And therefore, if the pregnancy ended successfully before the transaction, then the calf belongs to the original owner. So it is unclear what to do. And the Mishnah says, yachloku. In such a situation, we don't know who is the owner of the calf, so they're do yachloku. Rashi here explains that the reason the Mishnah decided to say that this is kinyan chalipin is because this problem can only take place in kinyan chalipin. If it would have been kinyan ma'ot, that somebody would actually buy the cow with money, that's a different story, because in order to finish that kinyan, you have to actually go and pull the cow. And then you would see if the cow is pregnant or not. That would make everything clear. But since here it's kinyan chalipin, that's what creates the problem. Let's continue to the Gemara. The Gemara asks, Ema yachloku? Why did the Mishnah say that the din here is yachloku? It seems that there could have been a different conclusion to this suffix. What is the Gemara offering? Ema yachloku? Velichzei bereshut man kaima. Velehave ida chamotzi mechavero alav haraya. Says the Mishnah, says the Gemara, when we're in suffix, we use other tools. And one of the tools we use is to see where is the object that's being in dispute. The place of the object will make us understand who is the owner. What does that mean? If I have the cow in my house and we were out in Shuk Machne Yehuda making a transaction and you pulled the donkey, since the cow is in my house, the cow does belong to you, but the calf, which is unclear who it belongs to, will remain in my possession because he is in my house. That's what the Gemara says. Is this calf in your house or is it in the other person's house? Says the Gemara, says Rabbi Chia, no, you have to understand, we have to add another point to this Mishnah. We have to do an okimta. let's talk about a situation that I sent this cow out to eat in the field. It's not in my house, and that's where the cow gave birth. Then there is no possession of ground to conclude where this cow belongs to and where the calf belongs to because she's out in the field and not in my house. This is a new kinta. Says the Gemara still, still we have another rule of possession, not where the object is placed, but who was the original owner. We have a rule in Chazakot that if there is a situation, a given situation, for example, you have a mikveh that is tower, it has 40 se'ah in it, and now, after a week, you suddenly discover that the mikveh is not kasher anymore because it lost some of its water. How do you know when did he lose its water? You continue the original chazaka till you're 100% sure that it ended. That's chazaka de mi'ikara. So we have here a similar chazaka de marakama. We know that this calf belonged originally to me. So in order to change its status, you're going to have to bring proof. And since there's a suffix and you have no proof, it will remain in my possession until you bring proof otherwise. So the Gemara basically asks, we don't understand why here we have such a big suffix. We have tools to make decision in the suffix, either the place where the calf is, or if it's out there in the field, still the original owner of the cow and the calf, he will be the owner in the situation of suffix. Continues the Gemara and says, Hamani sumchusi. No, this Mishnah is not according to the Shita of Chachamim, it's according to the Shita of Sumchus that says, Mamon mutar besafek cholkim belo shvuah. So, this is the famous sugya, a big machloket between Chachamim and Sumchus. The Chachamim seem to think that all kinds of chazakot can help us reach conclusions regarding tzfikot. And Sumchus, it seems, doesn't take these chazakot seriously, and he thinks that in this situation, it is still a suffix, and the suffix is yachloku. Wonderful. This is just the basic pshat of the sugya. Actually, there's a lot of discussion. What is really the source and the meaning and the implication of this machloket between Chachamim and Sumchos? And this is what's a little too big for our Gefet. But there is a smaller issue here that is actually discussed in other places in Shas. So hold on, this is a little more complicated than usual, but I think we can do it in 15 minutes. So as we see, here we have the sugya that if there's a suffix, you do either yachloku or hamotzi mechaveira alav haraya. According to Chachamim, it's a motzi mechaveira alav haraya, either possession or original ownership. According to Sumchus, he doesn't care about these two things. That's what it seems, and therefore he will split the value without any shvuah. Why is this important without any shvuah? Because the Gemara and two other sugyas asks, how come we see similar situations that have different halachot? It seems that our sugya says that in any case of suffix, according to Chachamim, you'll do a motzi mechaveira alav haraya, and according to Sumchus, you'll do yachloku. But if we'll go back to the beginning of the Masechta, Bava Metzia daf bet amud aleph, very famous Mishnah that you all know, שניים אוחזין בטלית, זה אומר אני מצאתי, וזה אומר אני מצאתי, זה אומר כולה שלי, וזה אומר כולה שלי, זה איש שווה שאין לו בה פחות מחציה, וזה איש שווה שאין לו בה פחות מחציה, ויחלוקו. Here, the opening Mishnah of Bava Metzia is different from both Sumchus and Chachamim, right? Because here it says that you have a suffix and you do machloket b'shvuah. Sumchus said you're doing cholkim belo shvuah. Chachamim said amotzi mechaveira alav haraya. How come here you have a different ruling? And the Gemara there in Daf Bet Amud Bet asks from our Mishnah, and it asks, Lema matnitin delo kesumchus. Maybe this Mishnah is not like Sumchus, even though there's a yachloku here and a yachloku there. The ikesumchus amar mamona mutar besafek cholkim belo shvuah. The Gemara asks, who's the baal of this Mishnah? It can't be Sumchus. Can it be Chachamim? That's also a problem. So let's see what the answer of the Gemara there in Daf Beis is. אפילו תימא סומכוס, כי אמר סומכוס, היכא דאיכא דררא דממונא, אבל היכא דליקא דררא דממונא לא. The Sugya says the difference between two people holding a talis and the situation of a machlif para b'chamor, it's two different cases halachically. Why? Because in a machlif para b'chamor you have something that is called drara de mamona, and here in the talis you don't have that factor, and that factor makes the difference. Again, the Gemara did not explain what is Derara de Mamona. We don't understand even the words. And that's really what we're going to have to try to understand. Another Gemara that adds the story of Derara de Mamona is a different sugya. Here it's not a Mishnah, it's a Memra of Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman in Bava Batra Medalid talks about two people who are fighting on a piece of land. One says, it's Shalhevet, I inherited this land, it was my parents' land. And the other person says, no, it's my parents' land, I inherited the land. And here, it is also Mamona Muta B'Safek, but Rav Nachman doesn't say Achloku. He doesn't say Achloku B'Shavua. He says something different. Amar Rav Nachman, Kol De'alim Gvar. The stronger one will take the land. Very interesting. Sugya, I'm sure we'll do a Gefet on it when we'll get to Bava Batra. But anyway, the Sugya there, and Daf Lamed Hey asks, why is Rav Nachman here doing a different rule than a machlif para b'chamor? It should have been yachloku. Let's read the gemara. U'ma yishna mehadetnan machlif para b'chamor v'yalda? Hatam, says the gemara, itlei drara de mamona, uleahu itlei drara de mamona, hacha idemar lo demar, ve'idemar lo demar. Again, the gemara says, the situation of a machlif para b'chamor is unique because you have there drara de mamona, and then you don't have in the story of two people fighting over land. So what do we see here? We see that we have something that is called drara de mamona. The drara de mamona we have only in the Mishnah that you're learning, machlif para b'chamor. There you have drara de mamona. But in talis and in land, there's no drara de mamona. And of course, we want to understand what do these words mean, because we understand that this is something very crucial in the Mishnah. There is some kind of halachic situation here that we have to see and understand in order to see why this case is different, why here you have yachloku and you don't have yachloku b'shvua or kol de'alim gvar. So what is drara de mamona? That's a masekhet between Rashi and Tosafot, and I want us to learn that masekhet together. So let's begin with Rashi. Rashi explaining drara de mamona is in a few places. One of them is in the beginning of the masekhet in Daf Bet Amud Bet on the sugya that we learned there. The Gemara says that the difference between the talis and the machlif para b'chamor is that the talis doesn't have drara de mamona and the machlif para b'chamor does. So explains Rashi, what is drara de mamona? Chesron mamon. Drara de mamona, says Rashi, is losing your mammon, a loss of mammon, a loss. Why is there a loss in a machlif para b'chamor? And why is there a loss in the situation of selling the cow, the pregnant cow? שאם היא פרה, זה שלא כדין, הווה חיסרון ממון. ואם הפטרנו שלא כדין, נמצא זה חסר ולד פרתו. Okay, Rashi explains, when I was selling you were selling your donkey to get my pregnant cow. So you thought that you're buying a pregnant cow, right? And if now what you're getting is just a cow that is not pregnant, you're losing money. On the other hand, I was hoping that the cow will give birth before the transaction because I was interested only in selling the cow, not a cow and a calf. And if you will take the calf from me, I will be losing my calf. Okay, so we understand why in a machlif para b'chamor there's a loss of money. Why isn't there a loss of money in the talis? So let's go back to the situation of the talis. What's happening in the talis? The talis, it's two people who found a Metzia and held it up together, right? The story there is a Metzia. They're fighting who's the one who caught it first. So this is not a loss. It is preventing one of the two sides, to gain. That's the difference. If you have a suffix, that the suffix will create somebody to lose something that was actually his, that's deciding on somebody losing. But here, it's just telling to one of them, I'm sorry, you thought you had an opportunity to gain extra money. That opportunity is not given to you. This is a different safek and a different situation, and that's why the halacha there will be different. And in order to do yachloka, you'll have to add a shavua in. And here, in Machlif Parah B'Chamor, since we're talking about loss, and both sides are really about to lose, then we do the pshara of yachlok. So that's what Rashi explained. Derara de mamona is loss of ownership, loss of money, and therefore it will only be in a situation that people were actually owners of something. Here in a Metzia, no one is an owner of this Metzia, of this Mammon. It's just people who are looking for new options and new opportunities and gaining more wealth. It's not losing their original wealth. So that's Rashi. Tosafot, in a few places, gives a totally different explanation to what Derara de Mamona is. Let's see how he explains Derara de Mamona in our sugya. So in Daf Kuf. So in Tosafot Dimor Matchil Belichze Birshut Man Kaima, not in the beginning of the Tosafot, there's a kushya. In the Yesh Lomar, when he goes back to explain the kushya, we won't get into that kushya because it's a little complicated for us at this time, says the Tosafot, ויש לומר, כיוון דאיכא דררא דממונא, ויש ספק בדבר בלא טענותיהם, וטוען ברי הלוקח עמו ברשותו, אין להוציא מידו. So, says the Tosafot, what is Derara de Mamona? Derara de Mamona is a situation that there is a safek from reality, not from what they're saying in their mouths. In any case, you have the reality, and then you have what people are saying. Let's say we're in a comics, so you have the picture and then you have the bubbles. So says Tosafot, the safek with the cow is a safek that even if no one would be saying anything, even if they would not be fighting, Beis Din would be looking and saying, wow, we don't know what's happening with this calf because the situation itself creates a safek. That's Derara de Mamona. But if we'll go back to two people holding a talis, what is creating the safek there? Because they're fighting and saying, Kula Sheli. But if we erase the bubbles of the comics of the people holding that talis, there's no safek here. What do we see? Two people holding together a piece of cloth. Therefore, it seems to be belonging to both of them. What is creating the safek is the text and not reality. So this is the shita of Tosafot, exchanging a cow and a donkey without a claim, with no text. There's still a question, what happened? Where was the calf born? But holding a talis, there you just see two people holding on to the talis. Let's add in also the other sugya that bothered us, two people fighting over a piece of land or two people fighting over a boat. When you see a boat or a land, it's just there. The only thing that is creating the safek is what people are saying about the land. So again, the land doesn't seem to be in safek. It's not a situation which is unclear. It's just a piece of land standing there because no one is holding the land. So that's the shita of Tosafot. And as we see, it's different from Rashi. According to Rashi, the Beit Din actively divides a property because there is a risk of financial loss. That's Derara de Mamona. And according to Tosafot, Beit Din follows what reality looks like. Beit Din is turning down all the discussion around and looking. If he sees a problem in reality, he will relate to that problem and do mechoku. But if there is no problem in reality, he will go to different solutions. So this is a different explanation of Derara de Mamona and a different explanation of why Beit Din here is doing yachloku in the sugya. What is unclear is why did Tosafot diverse from Rashi's shita? Rashi said something that makes sense. I like the svara of Rashi. And Tosafot in no place explains what is his kushya. We know that a lot of times Tosafot quotes Rashi and then says kasher. And here we don't have that. But in the Rishonim that came later, Ramban, Ran, Ritva, you have a quotation of a kushya that Tosafot asked on Rashi. So let's see the kushya as the Ritva frames it. והקשו עליו בתוספות. Okay? He quotes Rashi and brings the kushya, הקשו עליו בתוספות, מהא דאמרינן בפרק חזקת הבתים. לגבי זה אומר של אבותיי, וזה אומר של אבותיי. דאמר רב נחמן כל דאלין גבר. וכן בהאי ערבה דהבומין צעלה בית רי, ופרשינה התם, שום דלק על אחד מנהיו דררה דממונה. So, where does the kushya start? It starts not from the talis, that we explained very well for Rashi. The Tosafot thinks that Rashi cannot really explain the story of the land and the boat. Why? Because Rashi said that Drara de Mamona is when somebody is about to lose ownership that they had, not if they're opportunists, like the talis. But here in the land, one person says, I'm the owner of the land because it was my parents' land. And the other person says, I'm the owner of the land, so it's my parents' land. So ask Tosafot, ve'im keferush Rashi, he'ach en shem drara de mamona. How can Rashi say that when two people are fighting and each one of them is claiming that it's his land, of course, it's ownership. It's not fighting over who found this land first. It worked with the talis very well, Rashi's explanation. But how can Rashi's explanation explain that fighting over land is no drara de mamona? Because if this land is actually one of them, we don't know which, when we will make a pasak, we'll be taking away and gaining a loss, and a big loss. This is a piece of land. Land is expensive. Also, there's a story there on a ship. Ships are expensive. This is a big chisaron. It's not preventing opportunities, new opportunities. It's creating loss. So this is mamash against Rashi, because the sugya there claimed that in the situation of a land, there is no drara de mamona. And if Rashi is right, this is against his svara and his explanation. And here, the Ritva offers at the end of his commentary a way to solve Rashi's problem. But here I will end the Gefet in a different way than usual. I decided not to read with you the answer of the Ritva. The Ritva's answer is just one answer. There are also other answers. I'm leaving this as a kushya. Again, Rashi said that Drara de Mamona is chisaron b'mamon. And it doesn't work with the sugya in Bava Batra. What would Rashi respond to the Tosafot's question? So first you should know that maybe you think that the easiest way is to go and read what Rashi said in Bava Batra, right? But the problem is that this is a sugya in Bava Batra Lamedalin, and Rashi finished his commentary for Bava Batra and Daf Kafchet. He died in the middle of the commentary, and Rashbam took over. So we don't know what Rashi wrote on that sugya. So we have to use our heads, we have to use our savara, and I'm leaving this as an opening to you. I think we've learned enough for today, and I'm very happy to leave you with a kushya. And as you know, there are many answers to this. If somebody wants, you can go and read the Ritva or look for other explanations. How will Rashi answer Tosafot's question? How will he explain that there in the land there is no chisaron mamon? That's really what you have to do now after this Gefet ends. So today, we did something different. What was hard on this Gefet is to take a sugya that is very rich and to find a piece that can help and assist you. And I hope maybe someday, maybe soon, you will be learning Mamona Mutar B'Safek. And what we learned today, the Machloket of Rashi with Tosafot, will be of assistance. Just another addition, you should know that there are other Rishonim that have other explanations to what Drara de Mamona is. We see that we have this word in the Gemara, which is unclear, and we just saw two explanations, a machlokes between Rashi and Tosafot, but those of you who will learn the Sugya Biyun will see that there are other options there as well. So I hope you enjoyed our short Iyun but heavy Iyun this time, and Bezrat Hashem, we will meet again next week, already before Shavuos, Bezrat Hashem, or maybe after. May you have a good Matan Torah, and those of you who are learning Daf Yomi should be very happy and be filled of energy from this coming Chag of Matan Torah, because you're definitely doing a lot in your everyday lives to be Mekabel Torah. So Yishar Koach to you all, and we will speak again soon. Take care.